Good morning and welcome to Love Island, the Morning After podcast, the only official Love Island podcast. Now, we have a lot to discuss this morning. I'm Indiyah Polack.
I'm Amy Hart, and once again, to decipher all the comings and goings in the villa, we have the wonderful Kemi Rodgers with us.
Hello.
Good morning. And
Oh, my
We've
goodness.
treated you this week, haven't we?
You really have. Thank you for having me in this week. It just gets like juicier and juicier and juicier, and there is so much to say.
So let's get on with it.
Okay.
Alima and Remell. I mean, she was done. And I respect her for this because so many times in Love Island history, people hang on in these relationships that they're not all in because they're worried about being vulnerable, but not our Alima.
No.
Obviously, just to refresh everyone's memory, Remell at the sleepover was anything but respectful. He slept in a bed with a girl. He snogged her. He said he'd recouple with her. He went for the booty grab and was just saying, yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And then at the last minute, changed his mind and decided to stay with Alima. She was already furious about the video. And then he came back and it got worse.
Yeah, it did. To be fair, I feel like Alima handled it very well. There wasn't anything I would want her to change about how she handled that situation because it was just bang out of order.
Didn't even let him sit down.
She didn't even let him sit down. She's like, before you get into it, I hope you're never done.
Yeah, the man
Which
can't
is
even
fair.
rest his legs for that kind of information. But I love her because she stands on her business and she's confident about it.
Yeah.
And she literally would have rather have gone home than be disrespected the way that, like, these kind of blokes can come in and be like, yeah, like big macho, strong, confident energy. No, that's not confident because the reason he didn't bring Poppy back was because he was scared of the reaction.
He was.
She is the confident one. She's assertive. She knows, like, I will not have anyone treat me like that. And so she was like, you can say whatever you want, but just to know, like, this is it. And she's not doing like a Shakira or Helena who will take Harry back. She's like, no, you had one chance. You knew that about me. You knew my character. So we're done.
If it was you, would you have wanted him to say all the stuff and then said we're done? Or would you have done what she did and said we're done at the top? Because I want to know every
wanna know.
last gory detail.
I think
want
so.
to know
Yeah.
everything.
I would have done it as a test though. I would have kind of played ignorant. I wouldn't have said that everyone's been telling me all this stuff in the girls' chats. And I would have been like, so you tell me what you thought happened. See if that matches up. And then be like, okay, and pull out my receipts.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, well, funny that you say that because actually X, Y, and Z happened and I'm not taking it, so then we're done. Like, that's the way I would have played it. But fair play for her to being like, you can't even say anything to redeem this.
To be honest, she had no other way to play it because Remell didn't even get a chance to tell her. And the fact that Helena was the first one she heard it from, it's like, if my friend has seen it firsthand, I don't really want to hear what you've got to say because all you're going to do is try downplay the situation.
So true.
Because it was like, Meg, you should be so proud of Dijon. He's been amazing. Alima, I'm sorry.
But I think Dejan and Meg could have had it a lot worse if Remell wasn't there to like with all his shenanigans and all his really bad behaviour. Meg's like, yes, my sweet prince, he like, didn't do anything wrong. But of course, he was feeding like the cherries to Capri's. He was insinuating the truth or dare game.
Yeah,
And
he
if we look
was.
at just him, he got away with that.
But do you know why I think Dijon got away with it? It's because Remell looks at his boyfriends and he thinks he is like them. The difference between Dijon and Remell is that Dijon has made Meg feel like, you know, you're my Meg. You know, he's been open and honest with her. And even when it comes to speaking to other girls, he has been saying, look, I'm open, I want to chat, blah, blah, blah. Somewhat. Whereas Remell has been 100% for Alima. He's not given her any sort of notion that, you know, he wants to get to know other people. He's not spoken to any of the other girls. It's not gone anywhere. They've been kissing in bed. They've been snuggling. Before they left, they were on a pretty good page in comparison, for example, like Emily, who was a little bit concerned that maybe her and Conor could be rocky.
Yeah.
Alima was none the wiser.
No.
So for him to come back and for her to hear that, it was a big shock.
Yeah, sucker
you know?
punch, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's
think-
where he went wrong.
Also, Meg and Dijon. I really like Meg, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We all know girls who are like, you know, oh, my boyfriend goes out, all the girls are trying to get off with him, but he always comes home to me.
That is the
And it
worst
is
thing.
like literally, I know it's Love Island, but like, if I've had out my husband and
Yeah.
someone else, I'd be devastated.
Devastated.
Or even like, say he was in a club, like really flirting on other girls,
Oh,
pictures
no,
of
no, 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 no.
grinding and all
Yeah.
of that stuff. Like, but he's back in bed with
Not
me.
interested. I'd
No,
rather you
it's
sleep
about getting
outside.
married and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not banter.
No.
That's not banter.
banter.
That's like proper flirty chat. So I don't know. It would be interesting to see if we do get a switch from Meg, like if she finds out these bit of details about what actually happened.
No,
and they
I
go
don't
in
think
that
these details will arise. I think it's now going to take
think
for another
that's it?
bombshell or another like scenario for her to be like, okay, is this really what I'm interested in?
She'll find out on the outside then, won't she?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know what? From personal experience, that is the worst way to find out.
Oh.
When things have been so smooth and so fab. And I think that's what people forget. When you're inside the villa, things really go over your head because you're like, oh, it's not that deep. Maybe you've not slept with someone. It's just not that deep of a situation till you leave and you see it with your bare naked eyes.
Yeah, watching like your
and
man
then you're
flirt
like,
with
well,
someone
what
else.
was all the kerfuffle about? Oh, that's all
That's
the
what it was
kerfuffle
all
was
about.
about.
But then you're already locked in, so
you're
it must
already
be
locked
like,
in. So it's like, what do we do?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Well,
Everything's
it's
fine.
3 years later, it's all fine. It's all fine. Ramel made it seem like he didn't care. He's been taking lessons from Ben in I don't care. Do we think he thought he was going to come back and be able to be like, I tried other connections, but it's you I want, and sort of coast until he met someone else?
I don't know what he thought. I would love to just put myself in his shoes and just think, if that were me, what would I expect? What I hope versus what I expect is two different things.
Yeah.
He hopes that he could kind of sneak back into bed and just be like, yeah, cool, let's just carry on. I don't think any part of him thought, I'm going to have to explain what's happened. And oh my goodness, there were other people in the villa that saw what happened. So like, I just don't think he thought about it. Like,
Yeah, and again, I don't think he realised how deep it actually was. I think he did it in the moment. Obviously, he meant those feelings. He meant everything he was saying to Poppy. But I don't think he realised how big of a deal it was going to be because he's watched his counterparts do the same thing without realising that you are not in the same position as them.
Yeah.
You are actually with a woman who is not going to allow you to do those kind of things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think he expected it to go down that way.
I will say with the sleepover, though, it brings a really different dynamic because obviously previous series we've had Casa Amor and it's the boys and the girls.
Yeah.
So anything that happens at Casa Amor stays at Casa Amor. When you come back, the recoupling happens. If anyone wants to give up any information to their couple, they will do, but you stick by your boys and you stick by your girls and you don't offer up anything that hasn't already been said. Whereas this, because Helena and Emily were there, it brought a whole new dynamic because they're going to stick up for their mates and they're going to tell Alima.
It's like
And if-
infiltrated, aren't they?
And if Helena hadn't said that, Ramel would never have said it.
Yeah, I don't think he would have confessed that deeply. He would have just been like, I flirted with her a bit, but I got a strong connection with you, which is why I didn't pick her.
And that would have smoothed things over.
It would have.
I just don't think anyone's really on his side. I don't think the boys are fully on his side.
No.
Which is interesting because, like you say, usually we've seen it before. Boys like protect the boys. Girls will always be on the girls' side. But this is interesting where I feel like most people are kind of against what he's like done. I loved it when Shakira went up to him and was like, I'm going to tell you what you've done wrong.
Yeah.
I loved her for that. God bless her. Because I'm like, he needs to hear it for someone that's not Alima. Like, he needs to see it like objectively. I still don't think he sees it though. I don't think he
I think he
understands.
sees it now, but I think it's too far gone and there's nothing he can do about it, especially because he's not handling it in the most mature way.
No.
I don't think he's even apologised.
No, and he said to Ben,
Or-
like, yeah, it's over. I don't even want to chat anyway. Like it was your choice. She
Yeah, no,
doesn't want
he
to speak
also-
to you.
Obviously, not to speak too much about Ramel, but he also mentioned that if this was in the real world, he would have ghosted her by now, which I thought was very
So
alarming to
rude.
hear because the way he was behaving with Poppy gives the impression that he was never interested in Lima that much and he was just using her as a placeholder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you can air somebody after making them believe that you are interested, I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot
Yeah.
of boys who do that.
Oh,
Like,
God. Yes.
The temperature is rising and the eBay fits are only getting hotter. So let's cool off and debrief with the latest fashion updates from the villa. Preppy Americana is the word of the week and the theme of our eBay party. Unreal reunions occurred when Meghan sported the gorgeous Jean Paul Gaultier two-piece worn by All Stars Liberty and Tasha in Series 8. We love a comeback queen. Pre-love varsities were also all the rage with our boys Ben, Tommy, Dejon and newcomer Harrison, who were channeling all American heartthrobs. But it was Helena that stole the spotlight, styling her varsity, worn previously by Ronnie in All Stars 2, with a Jane Norman playsuit adding villa flair to a classic American fashion staple. This is why I love pre-loved. The best pieces never fade, they're simply reborn and slay even harder. Looking to recouple with a new summer look? Meet your match with eBay, sponsors of Love Island. Alima and Remell were not the only relationship to end this evening. Tommy and Meghan, it was all over. I think the love square is now completely done.
Yeah,
Finally.
absolutely.
Finally, it's now just a couple and a couple trying to be a couple.
Not really a couple.
Not really a couple, bless them. The vibe was like this relief all round that the love square is over. Nobody has to pick their sides anymore and everyone can sort of get on with their business. What do we think about Meghan and Tommy's chat at the fire pit?
I just feel like Meghan wants to get to know Conor. That's fine. But I feel like she does owe it to Tommy to hear him out because they were in a couple together.
Yeah.
And I just feel like she was getting her back up again. She stormed off. She called him a few names. And I feel like she's using this anger as an excuse to just go and crack on with Conor. And I just feel like it's a little cowardly because, you know, considering the amount of time she spent with Tommy, she can at least just be like, do you know what, Tommy? I am feeling it a bit more with Conor and I do want to get to know him. really sorry, it's going to work out.
And that's, I think it's the lack of like his feelings because he's so mature, our Tommy. Love him. But he literally went to her and literally said, like, listen, got a bit heated last night. I'm just going to let you know where I'm at. I'm going to put my cards on the table where my heart is. I'm feeling sad because of X, Y, Z. We all know what happened. And she just doesn't want to hear it. Anything that's a slight criticism on her, I just get this shutdown from her. And she's like, well, I'm annoyed at you anyway because you did X. And it's like, no, he's telling you, like, he's allowed to be hurt when you want to go off and kiss other boys. Like, I just think about it for a second. Like, you can still want to kiss other boys, fine.
Yeah.
But just have respect that, like, he's going to be hurt and hear him out on that as well.
And all he said was, I don't want to be in a triangle, so I'm going to leave you to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take myself out of it.
To be
I mean,
honest.
in Megan's defence, our triangle's not part of the Love Island process.
Yeah.
That it happens. But I think in with saying that, you are well within your rights to let somebody know you don't
Tony
want
did
to be
the
in a
same.
triangle.
Yeah. Tony did the
Yeah.
same. She
You can't
said,
win as a
literally,
triangle.
No, you Connor's part of that one as well.
Yeah,
so that's,
no trouble.
There's a common denominator in all of this.
I mean, the next morning they seemed to sort of, squash it, handle it amicably, and decided, look, we are going to go our separate ways. We'll build a little pillow wall. Even when they ended it then, I was still quite shocked that their whole situation ended the way it did.
Yeah,
Considering
so
how they
quick.
started out to how they've now ended and it looks quite serious, like this is never picking up again.
I don't think Alima and Remell will be going back anytime soon. I don't think Conor and Emily, who will come on to in a minute, but I think if anyone could worm their way back to each other,
Really?
I think Megan could potentially win Tommy back because I don't think there'll be anyone in there that he thinks he likes as much as her.
At the moment.
At the
I
moment.
want new
think
people to
she'll
come
need-
in
yeah.
just for him. I
think
really
she'll
want
need
that.
to do a lot of grafting though and a lot of unlearning previous behaviours.
Yeah. Over on the other side of the love square, we had Conor and Emily. Now, I have something to say about Conor. When he split up with Tony, we all sat here and said, oh God, Tony's just not getting the hint. He's told her he doesn't want to be with her, but she's still keeping it going on and stuff. Emily's now done the same thing. So I would like to retract all previous statements and say that clearly it is a Conor problem. The man talks in riddles. He can never just tell someone, I don't want to see you anymore. I don't want to talk to you anymore. And nobody knows where they stand with him. So I'm sorry, Tony. I love you. And I'm sorry I said that before.
A lot happened last night between Conor and Emily. Obviously, Emily's come back from the sleepover. She had a little chat with Conor, and the first thing that she's heard is that he's actually had a kiss with Megan while she's gone away. Now, I thought that was quite heavy to hear.
Yeah, and I also didn't like the fact that she got like a little bit of like a hint, but didn't get the full one.
From
because
Megan.
she went, Connor's going to talk to you. There's stuff that you need to hear.
She could have told her, or even put her one-on-one.
Yeah.
But to leave someone hanging and be like, Connor's
In
gonna
a
tell
group
you.
situation.
I think she shouldn't have said anything and let Conor say it because we've had it like in previous weeks during this series. People say it's not for the girl to tell me, it's for the boy to tell me I'm in a couple with you.
By that point, Conor hadn't pulled her for a chat. When was he going to pull her for a chat? And like, how much was he actually going to say if she hadn't have sat down and said, I know there's things you've got to tell me.
He probably would have said a lot, but also not a lot.
Come on, like just get to the point. He does like have a way of like dilly-dallying. And I think it's like, he's not confident enough to just be direct.
I think Connor's trying to be too nice. I feel like
Yeah.
he's got these lovely girls there and he doesn't want to be like,
their feelings.
I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm going to hurt their feelings. Because, the girls that he's done this to, Tony and Emily, both seem like really nice.
lovely girls. Yeah.
So, I mean, he probably doesn't want to hurt their feelings. But sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind.
And the thing is like, I felt bad for Emily because all of the girls knew before her. And I think that's quite a tough thing that everyone else knows. But like, she did apologize.
Yeah.
And I'm like glad that she kind of like maybe took a step back and reflected and thought, actually, like, I can see from her perspective that must be quite tough to hear. And then I'm glad that Megan had the chat with Tommy also the next day.
Yeah.
Well, the other sleepover in the hideaway between Megan and Conor. Is it ever too soon?
I think it is. But you know what? Maybe it's not too soon because they wanted to be with each other from miles
So
away
long
anyway.
ago.
So it's just sort of like, now is the time to do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Let's just do it now and get it over with.
And plus,
Yeah.
you never know when your last day in the villa's going to be. So they could
Yeah.
say, do you know what, we'll go to the hideaway tomorrow night. And then tomorrow night, Maya walks in.
Yeah.
And you don't
You're
have
gone.
a chance because you're gone.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think we're a bit like, what's too soon? Because we feel bad for Emily, right? We feel
Yeah.
bad for Tommy. But it is Love Island. It is a Love Island experience. Like, I think kind of Conor maybe said it. Like, we're done now.
Yeah.
I don't think they were in the wrong,
They're
no matter how
not.
much we feel uncomfortable with that.
There was a bit of commitment in the hideaway as well. Conor gave Megan his bracelet, which he never did for Emily or Tony. Could this be the real thing for Conor?
Wrap it up. No, Where did you get that bracelet
I think
from?
he's been wearing it the whole time.
Did you guys think for like half a second, he was like, I've got something for you. Then you just saw him like rummaging under the
I
covers.
know.
What is he getting and where is he getting it from?
I thought
and then
he
I
was
was like,
gonna
oh,
pull
thank
out-
God it's a bracelet.
It was an orange little bracelet.
I thought it was genuinely he was taking off his pants to give to
Yeah.
her.
But instead, he was giving her the Eras Tour experience.
Yeah, literally, they're sharing friendship bracelets at this point in Love Island. It's so cute. That felt like an engagement ring.
Are we
vibe.
moved? Did you think it was cute? I thought it was a bit random.
Like, do you think he's actually like
Yeah.
a really soppy boy? Like a
Yeah.
heart?
I mean,
Yeah.
he probably thinks that we've been through so much. It's been
Yeah.
like 4 days. But then tomorrow, the girls are going to be like, what's
What's that? And why is that?
What's that?
That feels like more of a commitment than anything.
You know when people say the whole cliche thing like, oh, if he wanted to, he would.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
this is a perfect example of it because we can see from the beginning, Conor has really, really, really fancied Megan.
Yeah.
And I feel like it just goes to show when someone's really interested in you, there's no time limit. He's straight in there in the hiding with
Yeah,
her,
that's
straight in there with the
true.
bracelet, straight in there
Yeah.
with the kissing. Like he's not wasting any time and he's making his intentions pure and clear right now.
I do rate that for him. Sure, he dithers around with his words a little bit. He can get to
Yeah.
the point
Yeah.
with the other girls, but I rate that. Like, he knows
Yeah.
what he wants and he's like using the experience. And like, you know, when him and Emily were kind of like on the rocks and he was like, just going over to Megan, it kind of felt out of
Yeah.
nowhere. And he was like,
Yeah.
listen, we had a chat in the beginning. I want to
Yeah.
continue that chat. And she was like, oh, okay.
I can't believe, like last week when they had that first chat, I can't believe we're now here.
I cannot
because
believe it.
I thought she was just humouring him like
Yes.
she used to humour Shay. You know
Yeah.
when Shay used to pull up for
Yes.
chats all the time and be like, do you fancy me? Do you and she used to be like,
Yeah.
I thought that was what she was doing with Conor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I cannot believe we're now in the hideaway, we're
Nice.
braceletting,
Yeah.
Tommy and her are over. Like, what?
I never
Yeah.
thought.
I can't believe, like,
Hey.
expect the unexpected.
Hey, unexpected.
Another breakup. 3 in one episode. I mean,
I
they're
know.
treating us. Ben and Yasmin. I mean, they weren't Love's young dream like Tommy and Megan. So, I mean, like, the world isn't crying as much.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, it was fiery. It started off fine.
Yeah.
And when I saw, like, you know, on the first look that it was going to be, like, fiery between them, I was like, oh, okay, I can't wait for this. So when they had that chat on the sun lounges, I was a bit like,
Is that
oh,
it?
is that it?
Everyone
Yeah.
took it really well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's taking it really well. But then they didn't.
Ben and Yasmin both said to their boys
Yeah.
and girls that they feel like they don't really have a connection and maybe it was just kind of like a sexual thing. I was a little bit shocked by that because obviously when they first got together, I didn't expect it, but we did see that chemistry in the bedroom and we saw them
Yes.
getting along. So when these things were being said, I was like, oh, did they have an argument we didn't know
Yeah.
about? Like, where did this click, you know?
And then there's the chat with Meg where she tells Yasmin, well, he was actually thinking of breaking up with you earlier today.
When they had their big row, what really stuck out to me was he kept shouting like, yeah, great content, great content. You're giving Love Island content for the next 3 weeks. I mean, he clearly hasn't watched it before.
But that's very telling. Is that the first time this
Fourth wall has been broken.
series,
It
yeah, fourth
has.
wall's been broken? And I love Love Island because people get so wrapped up. They almost forget the cameras are there sometimes. You get wrapped up in your own thing and we just get to see it as viewers and we love it. The fact that he's like, yeah, this is content. And I'm pretty sure he like literally looked at one of the cameras. This is content. Like, he's wanting to make good television.
I was going to say, it's holding up a mirror to himself, basically.
Yeah.
He's obviously like obsessed with the fact that she's trying to make good content, whereas I think it is just her personality.
Yeah.
It's not the nicest thing to see when I feel like when somebody isn't interested in you in a romantic way,
Yeah.
they feel like it's now okay to speak to you like you were just disposable. And I think that's what Ben did. I think him throwing in her face that she hasn't made a connection with anybody and none of the boys are interested. Mind you, Ben is single.
It's like when he knows that things are kind of going down, he will throw anything. If you're in an argument with someone and you're trying to tear down their character, no one deserves that from anyone. But like, it's horrible to see like you can have like so much love or just get on with someone, have a nice time, then just treat them with such disrespect. Like loads of people will be able to relate to that. Like
Yeah.
we've all had like exes or people just try and chuck everything at us. And you're like, wait, why are you trying to tap my character? Like 2 minutes ago you loved me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
first things first,
Yeah.
hold up. He had a bit of a redemption arc for me that's like now just gone for a full
gonna say.
180. He's a complex character, so I'm not saying either way, but I just think he needs to like maybe deal with how he deals with like, I don't know if it's a rejection thing.
Yeah.
I just don't like the way he argues.
I think Ben just needs to regulate his emotions.
That's it.
And I think he also needs to sort of accept rejection. At the end of the day, both you and Yasmin were on the same page.
Yeah.
You weren't feeling it. It's okay. It's okay to move on. You don't have to now tear someone down just because it's not working out.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we've
Period.
seen other breakups this series that have been so nice and so respectful, but Ben just can't
doesn't
seem
learn.
to get it. Like, no other man wants you in here. Like, why say that to someone?
Do you know what? You're not feeling the relationship. That's fine. That's all well and good to end it. It's just the way he deals with it.
Yeah,
It's like
there's no need for the insult.
No.
I must say, there's no need for the insult.
niceness, please.
Yeah, very exciting. Last night we had our first vote of the series. All had to panic download the Love Island app again. We had to vote for our favourite boy and our favourite girl, and the ones with the fewest votes will be at risk of being dumped from the island. Who do we think they may be?
This is a hard one, and I don't want to say this. I think Helena. I love her. I think she's one of my favourite people in the series. I just think we're going to be voting for like Alima or a Tommy because they've had such emotive episodes, the last couple of episodes. It's going to be the people that we haven't really seen too much. On the boys' side, it's Remell.
I think on the boys' side, it could be Remell because he has not had a good run in last night's episode. And in terms of girls, I do agree with Helena, but that is also because I think the public are still trying to see if her and Harry will potentially circle back because we have seen conversations of her saying, look, I am still a little bit there with him. So I think that might still be a thing.
I think maybe Emily and Helena maybe. Obviously, we haven't really seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Megan could be at risk after the episode she's
she will
had.
be.
How can we forget?
Yeah, of course she will be.
There's too many to choose from.
Yeah, this is
No,
really hard.
there's
I
too
actually
many.
kind of wish it was like the least favourite. Would have made our lives a lot easier.
That's very negative,
Yeah, it
though. But
is.
that's all we've got time for today. Hopefully, tonight we'll find out who is at risk of being dumped. And Kemi, you're going to come back and talk to us about it tomorrow?
Can't wait.
Yay!
Yes.
We're here.
We've got
forever.
the popcorn. Get the
We don't leave
popcorn,
here.
girls. It's going to be a good one.
And make sure you're around to see the sneak peek of tonight's first look and keep up with everything on the Love Island socials.
Don't forget to give us all your opinions, any questions, or your comments down below, or email us at themorningafter@itv.com, and we'll see you tomorrow.